Linen has been produced in Ireland since ancient times, but in the 18th and 19th centuries it was to grow into a vital industry. There were various reasons for this. One was that the rich farmland suited the growth of the flax plant. A second reason was the arrival of Huguenot settlers who brought new technology from the continent. Perhaps the most important reason was that the English government put such heavy taxes on woolen products that linen was the only manufacturing option. Flax is a hungry crop lacking plenty of manure and good land. The Ulster landscape would have been mottled with patches of the vivid blue of the flax flower. On small farms, a patch of flax represented a welcome cash crop. Winning the valuable fibres from the plant is no easy task, and each stage is highly labour intensive. First, the plants are pulled from the ground. Then begins the process of breaking down the structure of the stem. First, the plant is retted. This involves immersing the stems in water for a couple of weeks to allow a rotting process to start. The flax was laid in the water and laid down with heavy stones. After a few weeks, men waded into the stinking water to retrieve the flax. The stalks then had to be dried. The next process is scutching. Basically, this is a matter of beating the stalks to break down the structure. In early times, this was achieved by hitting it with a hammer. Water power developments led to the construction of scutch mills. In these mills, water power drove wooden planks past each other, hammering the stalks between. A scutch mill was a brutal machine and had to be treated with respect. Accidents were common. Once retted, dried and scutched, the flax was sold through many of the local markets, ready for the next stage in the complex process of linen manufacture. Linen started very much as a cottage industry. The fibre was spun into yarn in cottages throughout the region. Then it was work for the weaver. This was heavy work, mostly carried out by men. This produced a web of cloth a yard wide and 25 yards in length. But this is still brown linen and not likely to fetch a high price. Bleaching required the cloth to be boiled and then spread out on the ground in the sun and the rain for a week. Boiled again and spread out, boiled again and spread out, anything up to a dozen times. Still the product is not finished. The cloth needs to be thoroughly beaten over a flat stone with a wooden hammer, known as beetling, before finally becoming quality linen. The 19th century saw the growth of industrialisation in all sectors. Cotton proved readily amenable to mechanisation. Linen proved more tricky, but eventually spinning and weaving on a factory scale became a reality. Balnamore Mill was at the forefront of development. After 1860, further expansion saw the building of accommodation for staff on the site, turning the mill into a complete mill village. The village included a school where half the children studied in the morning before starting work in the mill in the afternoon. The other half worked in the morning and studied in the afternoon. The large red mill building was constructed in 1866. Under the ownership of the Braidwater Spinning Company, a pitched roof was built to create a reeling room on the attic floor. Expansion continued. The business flourished. At one time, there were 12,000 spindles spinning in Balnamore Mill. But the 20th century saw changes, and by 1959, the mill finally closed.